All right, what's going on, everyone? For you on Twitch, and also for those of you on YouTube that might be watching this. So I want to do a Cosmic Crucible Part 2 video. Some of you may have seen my Part 1 video where I talked about the playtest that happened for Cosmic Crucible and my impressions on it, my experiences with it, and now I kind of want to get to, well, now that I've digested that a little bit more, I want to talk about, what should we expect? What do we know now? What do I know based on the playtest? And, well, going forward, this is going to be around the corner in about 2 weeks, basically. Assuming that they're still keeping to the schedule of patch 6.0 release, a lot of that's going to be very important going forward because, well, not a lot of people are really talking about it. And it makes me wonder, does anyone actually care? And maybe they don't. Maybe it's going to be another game mode that's a means to an end. But, for something that they've been working on for almost a full year, or abouts, it should be something that we should care about. It's going to be like their next flagship game mode. Is it going to be good? I hope so. Is it going to be like RTA? I fucking hope not. Uh-oh. I don't know if I was supposed to swear in the first minute of YouTube, so we might have to blurt that out one. But, so I don't want this to be another RTA, because when that came out, it was just trash, and then they tried to make it less trash every single patch. And I really hope that's not what's going to happen with Cosmic Crucible. But we're going to talk about that, all that and more. So let's get this started. Hopefully that's swearing. Hopefully nobody, that doesn't get me in trouble. So let's roll the intro. Okay. And yes, I did just scroll down a little bit. I didn't really move very far. But, so, what do we know so far? And a lot of this is stuff that I did talk about in the first video, but for those of you who didn't watch that, we know that, and I know this because I did the playtest. So, players are grouped into 8-person brackets based on their matchmaking rating. Now, I want to say first up, full stop, that this is probably going to take months for this to even out, right? Alliance War still struggles for matchmaking. I very much think that Cosmic Crucible is going to take at least a few months for it to fix itself with relating to matchmaking. So it's going to be shit for the first few months in terms of, like, you might have crazy TCPs, like, at either range. Maybe not. Maybe we'll get impressed. And maybe that might be a good thing and a positive thing for Cosmic Crucible. But this is something that I'm low-key concerned about because matchmaking has never really been their strong point. So basically, when I loaded up my playtest, I had 7 other players in my little bracket, but I didn't play all of them, really. I actually only had 4 matches. It was actually only a total of 4 matches, the way that it worked out. I'm not going to bring up those photos if you guys remember from last time. Honestly, it didn't really mean much because there was only like 3 photos that we could even share anyways. It was pretty garbage. I wish I could share more with you in terms of the actual content, in terms of the photos, what everything looked like, but I can't do that. Players have 6 defense teams and attack the defenses of their opponents during the time window. Now, the best thing about Cosmic Crucible, though, is that you can do it when you want to do. And that's probably the biggest positive I have to say about the game mode. You're not stressed for time. Like, it's not like Alliance War where, if you're in a hardcore Alliance War alliance, that you got to really push to clear these rooms ASAP. Cosmic Crucible, when you have the time, hopefully you have the time in 24 hours, that you can do it when you want to do it. And I think that's probably the best part about it. I'm not stressed for when I need to get on it. Tournaments will be grouped into seasons. This is the reason why this is a little bit concerning, is that they told us that seasons could be as long as 3 or 4 months, I think. Because if you guys remember from video 1, I talked about the rooms and the room bonuses or buffs and debuffs. Now, they said that this was going to be changed around every season. So that means that the seasons and the rooms, the bonuses and debuffs, are going to be there for 3 to 4 months before rotating. And I think that's too long. I think the fact that if they let rooms sit for 3 to 4 months without rotating the effects, people are going to have, content creators are going to have videos out basically telling you the best teams to use in this room, and that's what you're going to use for the next 3 to 4 months. So I think they need rotations way more quicker than that. Maybe even every 1 month, maybe even every like for 2 to 4 weeks. I don't know. Like maybe just switching it up a little bit, because if it's too predictable, then you know we're gonna have the cookie cutter teams in this room set up, and that's not going to be a lot of fun. I think the most fun that's going to come out of this game mode is the theory crafting, the kind of, you know, understanding the characters, knowing where to put them where, and if we've got that all figured out in week 1, that's not going to be a lot of fun. To me, anyways. It's just going to be another means to an end. All right, stick your Young Avengers here, stick your Infinity Watch here, stick your whatever team here, right? You know, and that's what it's going to turn into. And I don't, and that sounds boring, and I don't want that to happen. So, again, we talked about the matchmaking already, based on wins and losses. My other big concern about this one, actually, is shelling. Solo shelling, in this case. So, shelling has been a issue in the past for Alliance War, but what I think could happen is that, what if you just don't care? You do, like, one match, and then you lose 4 times in a row, and then, okay, then it sees that, and then, okay, then you get stuck into an easy ranking, you know, because they're like, okay, you suck. And then they stick you into an easy bracket next time, and then you just blow right through with 4 wins. And so this is something that's highly possible to manipulate, and I'm a little bit concerned about. I think they need to tell us a little bit more about how the matchmaking is going to happen, what metrics they're going to use in order to, you know, match people together. Is it solely TCP? TCP, to be honest, is not always the best metric for matchmaking in this instance, because you're only using 6 defense teams and 6 plus offense teams. Depends on how good you are. You know, so if you're a tall, heavy roster, you could have a TCP of 6 million. Hypothetically, I don't know, like 8 million, right? And you could have all of the best teams that are available versus someone who's got like 15 million, but maybe they never invested. Maybe they have a lot of the older characters because they're a very veteran player. And so there's a mismatch here about what's possible, right? And I think some people forget about that you can have some pretty whaley, top heavy, tall TCP accounts, sorry, not TCP, short TCP accounts, but have all of the best characters. And then you can have high TCP accounts that actually don't. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about that one. Other things is the victory points. I talked about this before, but this, I can't understate the problem about the victory points with regards to the efficiency. Now, you might have remembered, if you watched my first video, then you might have remembered hearing me talk about efficiency. Now, this is going to go into the part 2 of the video when I talk about some of the best teams to use for this, some of the best teams that I think are going to be valid in this game mode. Because efficiency, how they determine this, is basically how many turns does it take for you to clear that team. So from a defensive perspective, some of the best Cosmic Crucible defenses are going to be the ones that stall the game out. So Infinity Watch, right? You know, so taking out an Infinity Watch takes a lot of turns, typically. And so that's going to mean that you're going to lose a point for every turn that you take to try to take them out. So some of the top teams are going to include Infinity Watch, and these teams that are very slow to kill. You know, like when you're in Alliance War and you take 3 or 4 minutes to do it. You know, luckily in Cosmic Crucible, you're not going to be penalized for the time. You're just penalized by the turns that you take. So I don't know, if you take like 10 seconds to decide what turn you want to make, it doesn't really matter there. But it's gonna matter how quickly that you kill them. So that way we can say that offensively, some of the best characters are going to be probably the Eternals, because they just fucking, now I can swear, they could just, you know, just rain fire everywhere, and they blow things up in like less than 5 turns, probably, you know, maybe even in 2 turns, you know, and so that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in terms of points, with victory points with those teams on the offense. So, you know, is Eternals going to be good on the defense? I'm going to say probably not. And the reason why is because you could just take in a speed meta, potentially a speed meta Eternals team, and do the exact same thing like I just said, right? Like a 2-turn, 3-turn win. And so you want to have those defensive teams that are going to take longer to kill. And that's going to help you win. Because at the end of the day in Cosmic Crucible, that's what matters, is those differences in the efficiency points. Because when I lost by like a difference of like 20 points. And that was probably because I took 1 too many turns killing their defense. And that's, you know, I was a bit slow. Maybe I use X Factor. And X Factor, while are really good, you know, they take a handful of turns. Same like Astonishing X-Men, right? Like they're pretty good, but they take quite a few turns. Their damage is not super high. So you kind of want the high damage teams to really just blow things out of the water, get really good efficiency points, and you're probably going to win Cosmic Crucible. Is that fun? Is that good? Maybe. Some people might enjoy that. Maybe you like punching down 300k to blow them up and you get, like, amazing efficiency points because you just screwed them, right? You know, you don't want to punch up. It kind of encourages you to punch down because the faster you can kill them, the more your efficiency point total is going to be higher because you lose those points for every turn that you take. So hopefully I've made that part clear. I know that maybe took a little bit of explanation, but I can't stress enough how annoying that is. For me, from the playtest perspective. Anyways, we talked about the room rules already, how I think that needs to change more quickly. They said that this was going to all rotate seasons, but they also said that seasons could be about 3 to 4 months, and that's a bit discouraging. I hope they decide to bump that up a little bit. So now I want to talk to, well, yeah, there's going to be divisions. So just like leagues in Alliance War, that'll determine what kind of rewards you get and how much of that. So, but I want to talk more specifically about the rewards because we didn't really get to that. And now they said that it's going to include orange and teal gear. Beyond that, they actually don't really know. They said regarding the content of rewards have not been established. There have been people in the chat, in the Twitch chat earlier on, we were talking about this, and they're saying, well, maybe there could be gold. I don't know how likely that is. T4 or any ability material at all? Possibly. Training modules? Possibly. You know, and for that, I kind of wanted to look to the war store that we have right now. Some of the existing stores that we have in the game, just to kind of see, like, well, if it's not just gear, what else could it be? And obviously, the one that stands out the most are shards. And the reason why I don't know if there's going to be shards involved is because they didn't come out and say that. Now, they don't have to do that, but we know that farmability is an all-time low in Marvel Strike Force. So this part to me is a little bit concerning because if it's not including shards, and we'll know that pretty soon, you know, within 2 or 3 weeks of Cosmic Crucible going live, or actually after Cosmic Crucible goes live, whether or not there's shards, then that tells us, well, you know, what's next for the farmability as it continues to spiral down? I hope not. But, you know, looking at the War Store, well, it's kind of just gear and shards. Arena Store, this one's a little bit different now. I mean, they have the training modules, but aside from that, they have the orb. We don't even have a war character orb. I mean, we have the gear orbs, but we never got a war character shard orb, and I think that was something that people wanted to get. I believe that people would have liked to pull, you know, maybe for less cost, to pull a war character shard orb. That would have been really nice, but we never got that, so that kind of leads me to believe that's probably not going to happen for Cosmic Crucible either. And in terms of the raid store, which obviously is completely different, it's, you know, a lot of characters and then orange gear, and we don't have teal gear yet. It's kind of behind the curve, if you will. So it's going to take a while before we even see teal gear in the raid store, you know, after it becomes a little bit less of an issue, then they'll decide to put it in there. So put me, you know, put some comments down below. What do you think could be in the Cosmic Crucible store? What do you think the chances of them actually giving us shards are? Do you think it might happen? Do you think they might give us gold? I think that's probably unlikely. You know, some other things, ability material, maybe. You know, T4s, I don't know. And so this leads me to the final part of the video, and that's talking about characters that you're going to want to use in Cosmic Crucible. And so I kind of alluded to this earlier on. I also do want to say, and thanks Prince of Peace for bringing this up, that they do plan on raising Cosmic Crucible teams, coming out with Cosmic Crucible specific tag characters. So yes, for those people who hate game mode specific tags, that is going to happen. They have said that this will happen. Now, we know that Darkhold is coming in 6.0, and they don't have, as far as I'm aware, don't have a Cosmic Crucible tag, but we might see a Cosmic Crucible team maybe in patch 6.1. You know, maybe they'll have more than just Cosmic Crucible to do with the team, but there will be tags and teams coming out that have this tag, just like an Alliance War. Now, what they've been a little bit unclear about is, are there going to be Cosmic Crucible offense and Cosmic Crucible defense? I fucking hope not. I hated this part of Alliance War, and I hated the fact that they had War Defense and War Offense teams. I like the teams, like Weapon X, that actually just had flat War, and so I could decide where to put them. So I really hope that when it comes to Cosmic Crucible, that's what they decide to do. They just say, in Cosmic Crucible, it does this. And that'll be fine for me. And then I can decide where I want to put them, right? And, you know, obviously there may come to a point where there may be characters that are better suited for offense and better suited for defense, but let me make that decision. And I feel that's part of the theory crafting that'll make it a little bit better, that I'm not kind of pushed into using certain characters in certain areas. And so I want to talk about some of the top teams that, or sets of characters really, that are going to make your day in Cosmic Crucible. And I already talked about some of these, obviously, and actually, you know what, I'm not even going to filter for this one. Well, we have Cersei and Icarus. So the Eternals, like I think, are going to be one of the top offensive Cosmic Crucible teams because they are super powerful. Their damage is very high with Icarus, and that means that you're going to perform very well in the efficiency bonus category for this. So that's just one of them. More generally, I think offensive teams are going to do very well. Infinity Watch, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. They're really hard, not hard to kill. They're slow to kill. And so depending on who you're using to kill them, having them on your defense is going to be very, very good. Now, obviously, they are also a very good offensive team. But I would actually argue that Infinity Watch is not the fastest killing team in the game. They're good, but they may take more turns than you'd like in order for those efficiencies. So Infinity Watch actually will be a very good defensive team because they got all these death proofs, they drain, and so on and so forth, and they're an arena team, frankly. So it's going to stall them out, and that's what you want to do in Cosmic Crucible for your defense. You want teams that can stall them out. The more turns that they have to take for you to kill them, for them to kill you, then they're losing those points in efficiency. So that's where things are going to fall apart. Now, one thing that I do want to say as well is that there's going to be some other teams, but also that Young Avengers, I think, is going to be another good one. Believe it or not, I know almost nobody is building this team other than me. I don't know that many people with full-blown Young Avengers, but I do think that Young Avengers has, and especially #FixKate. Once they finally fucking fix her passive properly, which still hasn't gone in yet, they said that this is going to go in for 6.0. I think that the Young Avengers is going to be a very strong Cosmic Crucible. Both offensive, actually, because they have the ability to counter Infinity Watch, for example, but also a defensive team because you have Squirrel Girl, who is going to really drag this fight out. And if you fought any of this at all in Alliance War, then you might know that a strong Young Avengers team can really drag out war, and it's going to drag out Cosmic Crucible. Squirrel Girl has insane healing, insane support with all the different health thresholds, deflex, defense, death proofs, and all of this stuff. So this is definitely going to drag out a Cosmic Crucible fight. And so I think that a lot of the characters that you're going to be able to use in Alliance War will probably be valid in Cosmic Crucible as well. Did I say that? Alliance War and Cosmic Crucible. One sets of characters that are not. And I found this out in my playtest. So you can be thankful that Heroes for Hire, not an issue. This is not a good team in Cosmic Crucible. It fucking sucks. Don't use them. However, characters that could still be good, Shang-Chi on the offense in a hybrid team, I could see that being happening, but the rest of them, don't do it. Not worth it. And so as far as Cosmic Crucible goes, luckily, we're not going to have the headache like we do in Alliance War. So I blew through them pretty quickly. You could use a Secret Avengers team, frankly, to beat them in Cosmic Crucible, and that's not a big problem there. Other teams that could or could not be a problem, Web Warriors. Where's that? Web Warriors. This is actually a decent defensive team as well because of the AI, right? Tinfoil Hat is going on that they have very high dodge rates, and the AIs typically have better dodge rates as a result. So I think that Web Warriors are going to be a very good team for this too, particularly on the defense side in case that they dodge a lot, and therefore you're consuming turns trying to get them killed. Now, what I ended up doing, I guess I'm giving away part of my strategy already, is that the Eternals were very good at killing the Web Warriors because they're unavoidable attacks, I'm pretty sure, with Icarus, and so that kind of burned them out really, really quickly. But anyone other than that who don't have unavoidable attacks might struggle against AI Web Warriors. So, this kind of gives you some of the ideas that some of the more meta teams now are going to be valid in Cosmic Crucible, but you're going to really have to think a little bit more. Now, when it comes to the room bonuses, I was, at least during my playtest, a little bit disappointed that they didn't make as big of an impact as I think it should have. So I hope that some of this gets worked on. Maybe they think about this a little bit more. They were quite fun because there were some things like turn bar rewind stuff, buffs and debuffs. You get penalized for having certain buffs, penalized for having speed up, and that would get converted to speed down and trauma. Like, it was pretty cool. But if you use the counter to beat a team, typically, you know, unless you were punching up quite significantly, it didn't really matter that much at the end of the day. So that part was a little bit disappointing. So this just kind of gives you an idea of some of the characters that are going to be quite valid in this game mode. I feel like there is a lot of theory crafting potential, but they're going to have to kind of fix up some of the issues that I have with regards to matchmaking, with regards to the rooms themselves, how frequently the boss and debuffs and the room buffs rotate, and things like that. So let me know in the comments down below. Are you excited for Cosmic Crucible? Or are you apathetic? You don't really care. It's just another game mode. You know, I want to be excited about it, believe me, because it'll give us more room to do more theory crafting, some more content, things like that that I can share with all of you. But I hope that they take on board some of the concerns that we had. I know a lot of the content creators were a little bit mixed. Some content creators were largely positive, but others we were a bit cautious about what was coming. Anyways, we have that to look forward to in the next couple of weeks, and maybe we'll actually get a blog post outlining exactly what the rewards are going to be outside of gear. So that's it for just now, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and we'll have some more Cosmic Crucible in the near future. Boilon signing out.